Derek, this is going to sound a bit like a backhanded compliment, and I swear I don't mean it to. I mean this as very genuine praise. The New England Patriots play an overall good, but I thought unremarkable game on Thursday night against the New York Jets. They win 27-14. The outcome is basically never in doubt. And I think if you play your B game and cover the spread and win comfortably against a division rival, even if it was not an overly memorable outing, you're a pretty damn good team.
That's what the good NFL teams do. Like the good teams make playing against, I don't know, the bottom 5, 6 teams in the NFL, they make it look easy and they keep them at arm's length the entire time. Like this game, there was a point, I forget when this happened. It was some point in, I think early in the third quarter. The Jets scored their second touchdown. They make the game 21-14. And the announcers are like, and the Jets are finally, bring themselves back into this game. And I immediately was like, no, they didn't. Like this game, they were not in this game at all. And then from there on out, the Patriots just choked them out.
I like to hop into our Discord channel during primetime games. Please, if that sounds interesting to you, come join us on Mondays and Thursdays. It's great. It's lively. I didn't want to say this in the chat because there are a lot of Patriots fans in there who understandably are invested. But like, yeah, halfway through the third quarter, I was like, I have never felt more like a game where the score bug tells me it's close is over in my life. Like they could have cut it closer. The Jets could have cut it to like 4 points in the fourth quarter. And I would have been like, I really don't care. I'm not impressed. I'm not worried about the Patriots. Even like the reasons the Jets were even able to cut this thing close, like a safety falls down on a crossing route for just a blown touchdown that the Jets score. Like, it was all fugazi. It was all fairy dust. Like there was no point here where the Jets were doing something that was bothering or worrying the New England Patriots.
What's funny too, you say you never felt like they were going to be in the game. There was a point where if you were watching the Prime Vision broadcast, they do a lot of really interesting stuff with the stats. And Sam Schwartzstein, who they ping him in to talk about all that stuff. They were saying like, if the Jets stop the Patriots on this drive with 6:49 or more on the clock, they'll be projected to have 2 more drives, and that'll give them a chance to go and win this game. And I was like, they're not going to score 2 drives in the fourth quarter. Like this football team is not capable of that, even against the Patriots defense that has their moments, but is a pretty gettable unit for the most part. And the Jets, outside of again a couple of blown plays and 1 or 2 Justin Fields scrambles early, just really didn't have a whole lot going for them.
And I mean, we saw glimpses of that. Obviously, the Jets had another man. The opening scripts for the Jets can be very fun. Like we've seen this across several games this year where the opening drive it's like the Jets, the decent Jets as we envisioned them in August, where like you get the read option going, you get the run game going, you do some play action. They have a 14 play drive. And Amazon had another great graphic during this game where they go 14 plays on their opening drive, score a touchdown. And then over their next 4 possessions, they ran 15 plays. Like it just fizzled out immediately. But so the opening drive, very nice for the Jets. And then you have the blown coverage. This is a New England defense that you can take advantage of. It just wasn't going to be this team. And I found myself sitting there thinking like, this is like a race where the Patriots realize like, why do I need to drive 100 miles an hour when I can win this race going 45? Like that's just how I felt the whole time.
And you know what, too? I think part of this feeling for me was the Patriots and Jets had scored on back-to-back drives, and that was when the Jets went and got their, turned it into 14-21. But the Patriots drive that got them to their third touchdown to get them to 21 points, there were 3 plays on that drive that Drake Maye made that were like, he's not losing the football game. It was like the third play of the drive, and Mac Hollins is coming from the left side on a dig route, and he puts an unbelievable amount of air on it to get it over the linebackers and lets Hollins go up and get it. I'm like, you are feeling yourself if you are throwing that ball that way.
I do want to say this, like if you're a Patriots fan who's worried that I'm not being praiseful enough, like the reason why I was so unbothered is that energy oozed from Drake Maye in this game. And Drake Maye looked unbothered. And for him to be halfway through his second season and the ease with which he was doing everything in this game. You mentioned the throw to Mac Hollins right there. midway through the first half when he like escaped the pressure coming off of his left side, stepped up, darts out of the pocket, converts a third down. Obviously, he had the very Mahomesy play where he tiptoed along the sideline and drew the defenders up to the line of scrimmage and just popped it right over him. He had 5 or 6 throws in this game where it's like, that's why he's in the MVP race. And he ends this game with a 0.3 EPA per drop back. Just very like almost like he was yawning while he was doing it. He's like, all right, I'm gonna step up to avoid this pressure and fire a dart downfield. And I don't have to do it every single snap, but when I need to, it's there.
That was my thought too. It just looked easy. And again, the Jets are a bad defense, but to make it look easy in your second year as an NFL player, when you are clearly like the best player on your team, like dragging them across the line like that, it's incredibly impressive. And like to me, there's just a maturity to his game. Like on that same drive with the Hollins throw, I can't remember if it was a play after that or 2 plays after that, but he, like you're talking about, steps up in the pocket and you can see him tuck the ball into his chest and like move it away from a defender's hand as he's sliding up and then like reposition himself and immediately throw the ball to Stephon Diggs. I'm like, that's just a guy who gets how to play the position.
How about this, man? I was thinking about this in the second half, and I have no interest in shitting on Justin Fields. Like, he seems like a nice guy. He went through the whole thing with Woody Johnson where the owner of his team is dogging him in public. I'm not interested in being a jerk to Justin Fields, but Justin Fields was drafted in 2021. This is his 3rd opportunity to be a franchise quarterback. The Jets paid him a not small amount of money to come in and take this job and run with it. And so what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. You'd think I could do math. In year 5 of Justin Fields' career, he looks like the young quarterback trying to figure it out. Like every snap of this game, if it's not there immediately, it's like you just feel this energy of, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. And like, the feet are moving and he's wheeling out of the pocket. Half the time he's not looking downfield. He's just focused on the line to gain as a runner. I mean, even the touchdown where the safety fell down, he had John Mechie wide open. He's like reluctant to trigger on that throw. And then you cut over to Drake Maye, who's been doing this a third of the time in the league. And he looks like he's been doing this for a million years. And like I said, he looked kind of bored by what the Jets were throwing at him. Like the juxtaposition was wild.
The timing and confidence in which those 2 plays is striking. Because like, yeah, Drake Maye made a number of throws in structure, but what is also really impressive to me with Maye is he knows when it's time to check down. Like he doesn't do it early, but he knows when is the best time to do it. So I'm not getting hit, or this is my only option left on the play. There were like 3 or 4 instances in this game where he's hanging on. All right, fine, play's dead. I'm going to check down. Whereas you compare it to Fields, like think of the last play of the game where it's that 4th and short. They're in the red zone. They have 2 receivers to the right-hand side. They run like a little vertical rub with the outside receiver to get, I think it was maybe Mason Taylor or one of the other tight ends running on one of those, just like a little speed out to get to the sticks and get it there. Justin Fields waits like 2 whole extra beats for no reason, knowing that route is going to get picked and come open. He throws it late and they don't complete it. And it's just like that difference of Drake Maye having really good timing even deep into the play compared to sometimes Justin Fields having like, this is the route you're clearly throwing no matter what and still being late on it, is like, it is a crazy juxtaposition. And again, just like incredibly impressive how Maye looks like that already.
It's probably worth noting that this has been a bad Jets defense all year, and they traded away Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams over the last week. So this is not the most ferocious group Drake Maye is going to play, but he's been doing this all year, right? I mean, this is I wrote this down before we went live. The Patriots are now on their first 8-game winning streak since Tom Brady was on the roster.
They won 8 games all of the last 2 years combined.
Yeah, man. They're at there. Remember, I think you and I did the show in the summer where we were sort of debating the Patriots over under, and we were like, is this juiced because people are excited about Drake Maye? And they hit their over under before Thanksgiving. I mean, they're guaranteed a winning record, and it is November 13th. And forget making the playoffs, man. Like it's not mathematically a lock, but it is essentially a lock. And now you're talking about an 85-90% chance of winning the division, according to the New York Times playoff simulator, and getting the number 1 seed is like a 45% chance. I mean, the aspirations in New England have changed since, I mean, certainly since August, but even I would say over the last like 4 or 5 weeks since the Bills game, basically, I think what this Patriots team is maybe capable of has changed.
It wouldn't be the first time Mike Vrabel's kind of stole a 1 seed. Remember that Titans team that nobody thought
True.
was going to be able to steal that 1 seed? And obviously that was a different caliber of team because they didn't have a quarterback like this. And so I think it's a lot easier to get excited about the Drake May version of this. Going back to the Jets defense really quickly, I feel like you really felt the Quinnen Williams absence. The Patriots offensive line is still not great, but I felt like the interior of the pocket for May was squeaky clean. Like he could step up and do whatever he wanted in there. And like you really felt missing a guy of that talent.
I know that you just said you want to talk about the Jets, but that was my other big note from this game is that Will Campbell looked freaking awesome. And like he's been good most of the year. But I would say like obviously we remember the Cleveland game. Like you've had your ups and downs and you've had opponents that could take advantage of some of his size limitations. But like Will McDonald was going against him for a lot of the night. And that's not Myles Garrett, but that is an NFL edge rusher who has accomplished some things in this league. And I just thought Will McDonald was awesome. Like he had that sequence in the first half. And I think that's what really popped him out on my radar was the first chunk play to Mac Hollins of the night, because he had back-to-back chunk gains. Will Campbell looked like he was going to get bulldozed into Drake May's lap by Will McDonald, and then he just anchored down and pancaked the shit out of him. And it was just like the type of dominant thing you want to see from a top 5 pick at left tackle. And then on the very next rep, Will McDonald tried to spin move him, and Will Campbell was like, he was already ready for it. He was like, absolutely not. And he just caved his sternum in with his hand and just stonewalled him right there. And I was like, oh, that looks like a top 5 pick at left tackle, which I wasn't always sure that would be the case. And he's had his ups and downs this season, but I thought he looked really good.
I wasn't either. Like, again, there were a couple other tackles I liked in there. Again, I'm a sizist, and him having as short as arms as he did, it was not a surprise that I was probably a little bit lower, but he really has started to come along. And that makes sense, right? I think when you're a guy who is coming in a little bit shorter than a lot of other tackles, you got to learn what NFL speed looks like and how you handle that for your size. And I do think that he's acquitted himself much better recently than I think he did for like the first 5-6 weeks of the season. And I think that's kind of helped, like, I don't know what the right word is, but maybe like accelerate Drake May's MVP's case, is that I do think like he's coming along. And then there were just a couple of other, like the fact that Trayvon Henderson is getting a little bit more involved now. Like it just feels like a little bit more of the plan for what we all thought it was supposed to look like into September. And we were like, oh, week 1, it'll be this good. And it's like, well, it takes a lot of these young guys like 3 months before they get it.
That's host error on my part, by the way. I mean, Trayvon Henderson, 1 week after he did what he did against Tampa, he has a 3-touchdown night. 19 carries, 62 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground, throwing another 5 for 31 and a touchdown. He had a red zone touchdown in the second half. Phenomenal night from him. I thought I saw a few reps of him doing work as a pass protector too, which, for all the consternation with the playing time he was getting in the first half of the season, that's very normal. Coaches don't trust rookie running backs. Like it is a sign of great respect if you were getting a lot of snaps, particularly third down snaps as a rookie. So it makes sense to me. Obviously, injury is part of this, right? Like Ramondre Stevenson's not even available, but it makes sense to me that his snap count would go up as he is showing himself capable of some of this stuff.
100%. Like I think we all have fun trying to find like who is the mid-round or late-round running back that's going to pop. But like none of those guys actually take over a backfield. Like they mostly do become role players. And I do think that you're just hoping that Henderson is a really high-level role player. And I think he showed you what he could do tonight. Like I honestly, him being not like the biggest back, but him showing like really good vision and confidence in the red zone, I thought was really important in this game. And then the receiving touchdown he had was a great, that was probably more of a great throw by Drake May. Like he's running that little like corner route kind of like to the back pylon. Drake May has to roll out a little bit to his left. And for May to know that he's got to throw that like back towards the middle of the field away from the defender sitting on the sideline, like the fact that those two, like a second-year quarterback and a rookie running back, have that kind of pass catching chemistry is like, that's pretty cool that they've already got this unlocked.
Everything Maye did in this game just felt so smooth.
Mhm.
It was incredibly impressive. Going back to the Jets defense part, okay, off the top of my head, I like Brandon Stevens made a great play swiping that go
That
ball
was awesome.
out of Mac Hollins' hands. Yeah, it was admittedly very cool. Uh is there anything else other than like the opening drive really that we're hanging our hat on here for the New York Jets at all? I mean, if we're looking for positives, and I think that's one of my other takeaways is like, yeah, like rough night for Adonai Mitchell and his first outing as a Jet, which if you're listening, if you tuned in to hear Robert Mays defend his love for Adonai Mitchell, Robert had something come up. He was sorry he couldn't join us tonight. He did want us to tell you he's backing his guy. He's not letting two first half drops chase him off of Adonai Mitchell. But not covering himself in glory in this opening performance. And that's, yeah, I struggle to find the positive for the New York Jets. And I mean, I know, Derek, we joked earlier today that like they were coming off of back-to-back wins, but I don't know, man. I watch a game like this and I see some of the games that are on the horizon for this team, and you just traded away two of your best players, and I'm like, man, it's already been really ugly for Aaron Glenn and these guys. I feel like you're gonna have to dig deep to keep this from being a really rough finish to the season.
They are in a tough spot, and at least for the offense, like you can kind of live with it in the sense of like I think we all knew that this outcome potentially for them was going to be on the table. The defense being as bad as it is has been a problem, and now you've traded away again on paper your two best players. Quentin Williams in particular, I thought had been really really good this season, and so those two guys now being out of the building is tough. And like I think they're just at a point now where one, you just don't have many players you can build your game plan around. Like, I think Quincy Williams is a good player, even though they like half benched him and then immediately brought him back because he's obviously their best linebacker, but that's like a whole separate thing. And then they've got a couple of decent edge players, but you just don't have a guy that you can build the game plan around anymore. And then I think even like filling out like the middle portion of whatever your starters are, Aaron Glenn wants to run a bunch of man coverage and he wants to play four down fronts. They just don't really have the defensive line talent for that, and they don't have the corner talent for that now that they've traded two of their guys out of the building and really like didn't have the great right bodies for that anyway. Like Sauce is great. I don't necessarily imagine him as quite the one-on-one man coverage corner the way that like Christian Gonzalez is or Patrick Surtain. And then none of the other corners they had on the roster coming into week one were those guys. And certainly with the point that they're at now with shipping some guys out, they're definitely not in that spot.
We talked about this on the trade deadline episode, and watching an island game with the New York Jets just kind of threw it into clear picture, which is like again, when we previewed this team, we said to ourselves, if you can do something on offense, maybe build it around the run game and just feel good about your cornerstone pieces heading into the next season, that'll be nice. Two of them are not on your team anymore. Like you cut ties. And so you look at it and you're like, okay, I feel good about the offensive tackles. I think given the circumstances he's in, I think Mason Taylor is having a nice rookie season.
Yep.
That's a bright spot on offense that you can look forward to. Will McDonald and Jermaine Johnson are good players. Jermaine Johnson did have a sack tonight because they left him alone with Hunter Henry on an end around that was going right to him. Curious choice. But outside of that, man, yeah, I guess that's my thing is like we can be excited about all the first round draft picks, but you got to walk through hell a little bit to get to the point where you can add that talent to your team. And yeah, I mean, if you like watching young tight ends catch checkdowns, I guess that's exciting. But other than that, it's tough sledding.
Yeah, they've got a long way to go.
Is there anything that I haven't hit on that you want to get to from, like I said, like a really, and I think I don't know. Does anybody want to let Patriots fans savor this? Like I was about to say something like, oh, let's let's have a moment for the Pats and their fans that have had to wait for this. I'm like, it's been 5 years, guys. Like, surely you weren't that starved for success, but you certainly have it now.
This is probably a ridiculous thing to say in our space. The Patriots fans just never really bothered me like that, if I'm being honest. And so them having their moment now is like, that's fine. They just never really bothered me like that.
No, I don't think Patriots fans are the issue, but if you are a fan of not the Patriots, it's like the joke we've made about the Packers 10 million times, where like when you go from Favre to Rodgers, and then, I know Jordan Love's not playing great right now, but Jordan Love is still a quality NFL starter, in my opinion. Like, for just one team to consistently have all this success, and then after this unprecedented run by New England, like 4 seasons later, it's like, oh, you might have the MVP. Congratulations. Like, I get it. If that bothers other fan bases a little bit.
Especially a game like this against the Jets in particular. Like, imagine being a Patriots fan crying over those like 4 or 5 years, and you look at the Jets, who have not had a good quarterback like that really like in my lifetime. Like, it's a tough spot.
Straight, like the Patriots are just looking at the Jets like, what? Like it's hard? Like, stop whining. Just go draft an MVP caliber quarterback. We did it. It's not that hard. I mean, shoot. Hey, Mac Jones made a Pro Bowl too, for that matter. So like, even the stuff that didn't work out is worked
out better than all the other Jets picks.
It's worked out better than most of what the Jets are doing. Yeah. All right. Sorry, Jets fans. We're not trying to rub it in, but it is certainly, it's exciting times in New England, man. Like I said, you come into this season hoping that they're going to show you something, and you're guaranteed a winning record before Thanksgiving. I mean, that's pretty remarkable. And that's why Drake Maye is an MVP candidate. It's why Mike Vrabel is a Coach of the Year candidate. And, we highlighted a lot of the fun role players on this Patriots team the other day, and I think you saw that again tonight.
Yep.
All right. That will do it for us for this Thursday night recap. If you're listening, it's not out yet, but our Week 11 preview will be out on Friday. Obviously, we talked big on Rams Seahawks, arguably the game of the year. We previewed Broncos Chiefs. We went through the Vikings Bears matchup, Chargers Jaguars. I know there's another one, Derek, but it's 10:30 at night. We covered all of the action from a loaded Week 11 slate. Make sure you check that out in the feed on Friday. And we will be back on Sunday night to recap all of the Week 11 action. We're here all the time. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you all soon.